At 8 p.m. local time on June 13th, a swarm of earthquakes began striking a section of Iceland's large, ice-covered volcano known as Bardarbunga. Within only a few hours, hundreds of earthquakes were recorded, the largest of which was a magnitude 4.8. This marked the second most seismic activity Bardarbunga had experienced since it last erupted in 2015, possibly signaling an ongoing sign of volcanic unrest. As a result, its alert level was raised to yellow on June 14, 2026. While some people might look at the ongoing earthquakes and say, "Aha, this must be due to an ongoing magma intrusion," there are several other more likely possibilities. This earthquake swarm could be purely tectonic. It could be late adjustments to its caldera after the 2014 to 2015 collapse, aka CLVD earthquakes. It could mark the beginning of a glacial flood known as a Vatnajokull. It could be related to hydrothermal fluid movement, or volcanotectonic but not due to any new shallow magma intrusion. While it is still too early to be sure which of these is the cause of Bardarbunga's earthquake swarm, the rise of shallow magma has so far not been detected. These earthquakes have largely struck at between 1 and 6 kilometers depth, far shallower than the 10 kilometers depth that marks the suspected top of Bardarbunga's magma chamber, where any magmatic intrusion would be expected to begin. Also, the earthquakes largely appear to be striking on reverse faults, which removes the CLVD earthquake possibility. I don't think these quakes are purely tectonic given where they struck, and while a secondary cluster of earthquakes did occur above an ice cauldron, in my opinion, I don't see any signs that these might have generated the beginnings of a Vatnajokull. Thus, in my opinion, I think that Bardarbunga's earthquake storm was caused by ongoing long-term ground uplift due to the continued arrival of magma at its primary deep magma chamber. This uplift put stress on nearby faults, compressing them until a cluster of them released some stress in a short time span. I personally suspect that some heated hydrothermal fluids rose as well to help generate these earthquakes. Such a series of events likely also triggered the only other increase in Bardarbunga's alert level since it last erupted, which occurred due to an earthquake storm in mid-January 2025. Bardarbunga, for reference, is one of 6 active volcanoes that exists underneath the vast ice sheet known as Vatnajokull and has erupted 6 times in the last 230 years. 3 of these eruptions form fairly large lava fields on its flanks, specifically in 1797, 1862 to 1864, and from 2014 to 2015. Since Iceland was first settled, Bardarbunga has been the country's second most active volcano in terms of the number of distinct eruptions, with Grímsvötn being in first, and these volcanoes being the second closest and closest to the center of the Iceland hotspot mantle plume, which drives much of the nation's volcanism. Bardarbunga, despite having a large central edifice, also has extensive flank vents that extend all the way to just southeast of the Hekla volcano to just northwest of the Askja volcano. The area immediately surrounding Bardarbunga is completely uninhabited, and any eruption from its summit will be explosive due to an inevitable interaction of magma with overlying glacial ice. While the still ongoing earthquake storm has seemingly already declined in intensity, I want to highlight how it compares to 2 previous examples. Note how this week's earthquakes have almost struck in the same place as the January 2025 earthquakes, which is why I think they share a similar origin. In contrast, the 2014 earthquake storm that preceded Bardarbunga's last eruption started in the northeast of its summit caldera before migrating over time away from its summit to where its flank eruption would begin. I am not seeing any current signs from Bardarbunga, in my opinion, that suggest an imminent eruption. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.